Today, we're diving into something that sounds like it was ripped straight out of a science fiction script, an AI serving as the chairman of the board. But as you're about to see, this isn't some far-off fantasy, it's already happening. So, what are we talking about here? Is the idea of an AI running a company just a futuristic dream? Or are we on the verge of your next CEO literally being a piece of code? Well, here's the kicker. This isn't about the future at all. It's already here. Back in 2015, the World Economic Forum made this big prediction that an AI would join a board by 2026. But they were already behind the curve. A full year before that, in 2014, a venture fund had already put an algorithm named Vital on its board. And by 2016, a publicly traded company had an AI called Alicia T on its leadership team. This whole thing moved from theory to reality way faster than anyone saw coming. So yeah, this surprising reality is already taking shape. But as we dig into how an AI actually gets a seat at the big table, there's one question that always pops up first. Right, how is this even legal? I mean, corporate law is built on all these very human ideas like duty and trust and accountability. So how on earth can you just install a piece of software on a board of directors? Well, the answer is pretty wild. When you actually look at the G20/OECD Principles of Corporate Governance, which is a huge global standard, they never actually say a director has to be a human. Legally speaking, the door was basically left wide open, probably because the laws were written to define the function of a director, not what they have to be made of. And, this isn't as totally out there as it sounds. We actually have a precedent for this kind of thing. The idea of a corporate director, where one company sits on the board of another, is already a well-established practice. So an AI director, it's really just the next logical step, just a technological one. And this idea has been around for a long time. I mean, way back in 1970, a professor named Meir Don Cohen was already talking about an impersonal corporation, a company run entirely by computers. Now, back then, this was pure theory, of course, but it just goes to show you, people were already imagining a future where human managers might be optional. And today, that old theory has spawned a whole new set of buzzwords. We've got things like the algorithmic entity, which can act with legal authority. You've got the robot director, which is a single AI board member. And then there's the ultimate goal, the robo-board, a board made up entirely of AI, which gets you to the holy grail, the truly self-driving company. Okay, so the legal side checks out and the theory's been around for ages. But how does this actually work in the real world? What is an AI director really doing? From what we can see, companies are taking one of two main routes here. The first is the go big or go home approach. Build a massive all-in-one digital command center that gives you this godlike view of the entire company. The other way is more piecemeal. You just automate specific individual tasks one by one. Let's really dig into that first path with a huge real-world example. The Abu Dhabi National Oil Company, which you might know as ADNOC, has built this incredible system called the Panorama Digital Command Center. And just to be clear, we are not talking about some little startup here. ADNOC is a behemoth with revenues over $60 billion. The point is, this isn't some side project or an experiment. This is a core mission-critical tool for one of the biggest companies on the planet. So what's under the hood of this thing? Well, Panorama is basically the digital brain for the entire company. It sucks in real-time data from all of its subsidiaries, uses AI to come up with recommendations, creates digital twins to watch over physical assets, and even uses blockchain to keep all that information secure. What you get is a single source of truth for the entire business. Total transparency. Okay, this all sounds incredibly powerful, right? But it also leads us to the biggest, most important question of all. If we're going to hand the keys over to an algorithm, can we actually trust it? This gets us to something called the black box problem. With really complex AI, you can see the data you feed into it, and you can see the decision that pops out the other end. But that middle part, the how and the why it connected the dots, that can be a total mystery. Sometimes, even the people who built it don't know for sure. And that's a massive problem, because bias can sneak in from anywhere. You could feed it biased data to begin with, it could learn the wrong patterns during training, or a programmer could just accidentally code their own biases right into its logic. It's the classic garbage in, garbage out scenario, but on a massive corporate scale.
So yeah, regulators are starting to pay attention. The European Union, for example, is actually trying to solve this by creating a right to explanation for its citizens. Basically, if an algorithm makes a big decision that affects your life, you have a legal right to know why. But get this. This is not a new problem at all. U.S. credit laws from way back in the 1970s already demanded that credit decisions be explainable. This actually stopped banks from using these kinds of complex black box algorithms for decades because they couldn't legally explain how they worked.
Okay, so where is all this headed? What does the future of leadership even look like in a world with AI in the C-suite? To even begin to guess at the endgame here, you have to understand a concept called the technological singularity. It's the idea of this runaway explosion of intelligence, where each generation of smart machines builds an even smarter generation of machines, and so on and so on. Now, you can probably see where this is going for businesses. A company run by AI could become ridiculously efficient, outcompeting everyone. That success then gives it more money and more data to build an even better management AI, creating this insane feedback loop that could just leave human-run companies completely in the dust. Which brings us all the way back to the final question, the one that really matters to you and me. Forget the chairman of the board for a second. Given where this is all going, will your next boss be an algorithm? Now that's something to think about.